All right, folks, today we're going to be talking about order of operations. And we are going to be building on things that you've done in the past and kind of taking it one step farther. You might remember the order of operations as please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. PEMDAS. I typically write it like that. I've worked with teachers in the past who've written it like this. Please excuse, and then they write it like this. Why might a teacher do that? Lena?
Because multiplication and division are the same, but they just split, and addition.
Sure. Yeah, multiplication and division, you actually do those at the same time. It's just whichever comes first when you're reading the problem. Sometimes there's some people out there who get a little bit confused when they see this and they think that multiplication always comes before addition. That's not true. It's whichever comes first in the problem. So some teachers like to write it like that just to help it make it a little bit more clear. So we have parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. The biggest difference between this year and last year is that this year, your parentheses are not just parentheses. Parentheses you're used to seeing that look like that. Sometimes you're going to have parentheses inside parentheses.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're going to have little symbols that look like that. They're brackets. Those are also parentheses. In addition to that, you're also going to have fraction bars. And the fraction bar is a lot like parentheses. It's going to separate everything on the top and on the bottom. So we have to treat those just like we would parentheses. Those are all what are called grouping symbols. Parentheses are just one type of grouping symbol. So we'll be grouping them in a variety of different ways this year. Let's look at a few examples to get us started. We'll do 7 plus 3 times 5. I make my multiplication signs with a dot. Some teachers use like an X for multiplication. I use a dot. And the reason that I use a dot is because when we start doing algebra, it makes it a little bit less confusing. If I were to write this with an X, 3 plus 5 times 5, 7 plus 3 times 5, that's okay. But if I had 7 plus 3x times 5, now it starts to look a little bit messy and weird. If I wrote that with a dot, 7 plus 3x times 5, it's a lot more clear. So that's why I use the dot as my multiplication sign. Don't let that confuse you. Order of operations, I've got parentheses in the problem. Nope. Exponents, nope. Multiplication, I do have multiplication, so I'm going to do that first. That gives me 15. And then I've got my 7. I have to carry down my addition and my 7, because I only did that part first. And then I do 7 plus 15, which gives me 22. So my answer there is 22. This is what we call the funnel down technique. We're simplifying the problem. We're just chipping away at the answer. We're chipping away at the problem until we're left with our answer. Look at another example. 36 divided by 9 minus 3. So which of those am I going to do first? Greg? Sure. Division comes before subtraction, so I'm going to do my division first. 36 divided by 9. What is 36 divided by 9? 4. 4 minus 3. The minus 3 carries straight down. Now I can do 4 minus 3. It gives me 1. There's my answer. Mr. Thompson, I did it in my head. Is that okay? No. Because my goal is not to give you the answer. In fact, there's going to be times where I actually give you the answer. Your job is going to be giving me the funnel down. What are you doing in between the question and the answer? Look at another example here. I've got 18 divided by, and then 7 minus 4 in parentheses, plus 6. What am I going to do first in this problem, Michael?
7 minus 4.
Perfect. 7 minus 4, because it's in parentheses, that's the first thing to start with. 7 minus 4 gives me 3. And then everything else has to come down. So I did this part, but I still have to do the plus 6. I still have to do the divide by symbol and the 18. So really, I'm just I chipped away the parentheses and it left me with this. Now I got to kind of restart the process. What do I do next in this problem? Anna? So I do 18 divided by 3, which gives me 6. And then I still have to do my plus 6, which I think we can all do, which gives us 12. Let's try one of those that maybe you have not seen before. So 9 plus, parentheses 1 times 16, close parentheses minus 8, close bracket. Alright, now we're doing some math. Alright, so somebody tell me what my first step in a problem like this is going to be. Emily. Yeah, we're looking, well, I mean, if I see that I got a bracket right here, inside the bracket I have parentheses inside the bracket. So I got to start with whatever's inside the most. So Emily's correct. I do 1 times 16 gives me 16. And then I've still got to carry, that's a minus 8. So minus 8 didn't look like it. So there's a minus 8 there. Still inside the brackets. I've got the 9 on there, still inside the brackets, and the 9 on the outside there. All right, now what? Anna? So 9 plus 16, so you can do the 9 plus 16, now which will give you 25. You still got the minus 8 on there, and the 9 on the outside. Now I got to do whatever's inside here, which will give us 17. What operation is that right there, though? I'm kind of confused. It doesn't have a sign. Aiden, what's that mean? It is multiplying. What this says is that I've got 9 of whatever's inside here. So I've got 9 of those. Of course, means multiplication. So I'm going to multiply 9 times the 17. And when I do that, I get 153. And that is our funnel down technique. So get 2 more problems. This is the first one that we have that has a fraction bar. Remember, a fraction bar is just another grouping symbol. I'll try to scroll down a little bit. So our grouping symbol for parentheses is a fraction bar. So what it's saying is that the top and the bottom are grouped separately. So what you can do is, in your head, pretend that everything on the top is grouped together and then everything on the bottom is grouped together. So we do whatever's inside our parentheses first, 17 plus 4, which gives us 21. And then you got a 2 on the outside of that, and then that's over 3. Remember the 21 and the 2 and the 21. We said that when the number's right outside the parentheses, that means multiplication. So what that means is I've got 2 times 21. 2 times 21 gives me 42. And that'll be over 3. And if I reduce 42 over 3, what do I get? Here's a hint. There's actually 2 ways that we can do this. You might remember last year when you learned that a fraction problem is just simply a division problem. So some people will just do 42 divided by 3 and get their answer. Other people on this problem may want to write it as a fraction and do 42 ABC 3. That'll give them a fraction, and they hit equal to simplify it. And that gives us the exact same answer, 14. All right, here's our last example. The answer to this problem is 4. You have to show me the steps to get there.